All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Thursday Night Blood Bowl here in the MML, Week 5 in Season 6. Yes, and you are about to witness two teams from the NSC, the Noble South Conference, and First Four Play Pool, and they are the New Orcland Grunts, coached by Preach MJ, visiting the Aztec Cold, coached by Blue Six Max, a recent call-up from the Challenge League. Both of these teams so far struggling a little bit, much more so Aztec Gold. The Grunts are kind of middle of the pack, sitting there at one win, two draws, and one loss. So actually, a win here will put them at 2-1 which would actually push them up toward the top of the conference or the play pool and still keep them in contention for a good playoff run. Meanwhile, Blue Max at one win and three losses is at the basically fighting with the Seven Deadly Sins, coached by Coach Seston, for the bottom of the play pool. And the ball is kicked off. The New Orcland Grunts, thanks to the brilliant coaching of the commissioner of the MML, Preach MJ, get an extra re-roll from the extra training that they got just because he's such a good coach. All right, and let's go. Turn one starting. And as you'll see, these moves are going to happen really fast. I'm trying out something a little different here. This game actually in real time started a little while ago. So what I've done is back it up on the replay because you know what? We do things on our own time over here. And we'll see how this works. If it makes the announcing a little more exciting just because the moves are happening super fast. The good news is we will get to a point where we've caught up and we are live. Both of these coaches play pretty fast anyway. But with the little, the super fast, we'll see how that affects everything. In any case, it makes my announcing a lot easier because I can just call the action that's happening on the field and I don't have to come up with witty banter in between. Witty banter is fun and everything, but let's try this out, see how it works. Anyway, the ball is kicked off. The Grunts are getting in their hits. You see Sibley on the field for the Lizards. Sibley is a very interesting inducement, a very game-changing inducement because people already complain about Lizards teams having 7 players that at least strength 4 and up, right? It's really 6 players of strength 4, and then the Crocs. And then if you've got a steroid team like the Leaping Lizards, you got multiple players at ST5, which is a problem. But so with 7 players who are essentially some form of a big guy or a little bit of a big guy compared to your average, it's a lot of strength on the field. A lot of teams, a lot of people argue that's kind of OP. Now, when you throw an 8th one in there like Sibley, they become even more of a problem. As you know, you can't add journeymen through inducements if you've already maxed out on that area. So, for instance, you can only have 6 Saurus. You can't go in inducements and hire a mercenary Saurus to give you 7. But Sibley, being a star player, is exempt from that rule, and he comes in and gives you a block strength 4 guy, which augments the already very, very powerful Lizard arsenal. And let's see how the Orcs are dealing with it. If anybody's equipped to deal with strength, with a big strength output like the Lizards, the New Orcland Grunts, look at how much guard they have on field. They got a lot of strength on field, and they're flexing it here. Tater knocking out Kate Lashley, the skink, and the one die block on Sibley, ineffective. Sibley with that stand firm skill just takes the blow and absorbs it, laughs it off. Grazog takes a hit at Tlazazala and unable to knock him to the ground. That is of course, very accurate pronunciation. Tlazazala. That's what that skink is called. That's what happens when you don't actually take the time to name your players. I pronounce them like crap. Lizards moving up, marking the blitzers over here on the Orcs. Unable to fell the blitzer Mokost. Or is that Tater? Who is that? Just got knocked back. That's Tater. And poor Iggy Max with the ball over there, usually so secure around this big line of Orcs, but they have been kind of pulled apart a little bit by these Lizards, marked up in different spots. And the strength, normally something that's their forte, is kind of a problem, except for that middle area. But I think what really kind of kicked off this whole failure to control the pitch that you normally see from the New Orcland Grunts is slim pickings. Basically, so right when the action started, Slim Pickens decided that he had a big boulder-sized booger in his nose and decided to go fishing around for it. And it looks like here in turn two, he is still unable to dislodge that booger, and he finally gets it out, and now he's digging in his butt crack. And the whole time that's happening, he's not paying attention to any of the action in the pitch. And so the rest of the orcs go into motion and start cracking some heads. And there goes Tank of the Pyramid, who gets knocked down to the ground seeing stars. And let's see if these lizards are going to get a taste of their own medicine. See, it looks like the Grunts got some strength too, and they're flexing those muscles. There's a mighty blow, and Quetzalcoatl is knocked to the ground as well. Iggy Max moves up next to his buddies. And let's see what happens. So Iggy basically daring the one-die block from Quetzalcoatl, who turns around and KOs Iggy. Iggy is gone, and it's a turnover for the lizards, but the ball is knocked loose, and the star ball carrier for the Grunts is off the pitch, knocked out. So let's see if these orcs can recover from this and continue pushing downfield. Looks like Slim Pickens finally got what he wanted out of his butt, and now he's slapping Adohimandi, the journeyman, Adohimandi of the sun. He slapped him with whatever he dug out of that butt crack. That's not only disgusting, but demoralizing. And another one-die block for the Grunts, and those are costing them rerolls. It remains to be seen whether that will add up ultimately, but you can't just continue to burn rerolls so early in the first half. We're only on turn 4. The Grunts have started with 4, I believe, and they only have 1 left. Here comes the block from Tank of the Pyramid. And Tacklor knocked to the ground, injured. That's one of those blitzers with the frenzy skill, and the pylon, a big dangerous threat, as the Necromantics found out last week, when basically the Tacklord kind of outbatched the Wolves, doing what you usually see the Wolves doing, frenzying and piling on. And this time, Tacklord's going to be knocked out, but the Apothecary comes out and is able to get him back on the sidelines and ready to go. Oh, and right after the Apothecary has used up his stuff, Mokos, the Blitzer, is dead. Dead. That's a loss for the Grunts. That was a tackle skill blitzer. We're blocking Mighty Blow. I mean, it's nothing the Grunts can't recover from. There's a lot of guard on this team. There's a lot of Mighty Blow on this team. There's, well, that was, the tackle piece is kind of in demand on the Grunts, but they still got one tackler on the field, and they're going to need him for the Skinks. So, and the other one is still a tackle piece sitting on the sideline. He'll come back in after the next kickoff. So you see Uncle Jesse throw a punch and then move up, and there's a dodge, and there goes the last reroll for the Grunts. Oh, that was the ball carrier. Fails to dodge away. That's Tater, and that ball falls down. Looks like the Grunts have been taking a lot of chances in this match, and it's catching up with them. Normally, the Grunts very, very solid at positioning. They don't roll that many dice, to my memory, and they force the other side to roll those dice to make them uncomfortable because of all the strength in the guard. But here they've run into a team that's just as strong as they are, and it's almost like they don't know how to deal with it. It's kind of frazzling them, and being separated from each other, they're not as strong, and now they're just being pulled apart. And amidst that ball falling, the skink, that Agi4 skink, Quack Slop Plop, goes in, grabs that ball, and runs back toward the end zone. Uncle Jesse exacting some revenge. Slively has already been knocked to the ground, and here comes some more guard to get involved in this mix. And then you're going to see Grazog try to get his revenge in, and there's the pylon. Looks like the Grunts just don't even care about the ball anymore at this point. Asgar break tee knocking another source to the ground, but the AV9 is holding up, and Blue Max waves the skink in. Looks like the gold is gonna go ahead and score. Just they subscribe to Just Score magazine. They're not gonna drag it out, and it's 1-0. So it looks like on the Aztec side, the skink's gonna stay knocked out. That Blitzer's going to stay dead, and most importantly, Iggy Max not coming back. He's not waking up right away. This took a real solid blow. Let's hope it's more of a just a temporary unconscious period than like a serious coma or something. Blitzer's just going to line up on the field. There's only 2 turns for the Grunts to score, but let's see. With Iggy Max off the field, they're a little impaired on that, but let's be honest. I mean, they've got the personnel. The Grunts have the personnel. They don't have a lot of high movement guys, but you take a movement 6 guy, like one of these blitzers, like Grazog's, you put him up on the line, and he can get in position to score in 2 turns. But it looks like Preach has instructed his orcs not to line up that way, which I'm surprised about. Does not look like the Grunts are going for the 2-turn score. Looks like the Grunts are just pissed about their dead blitzer, and they just want to, crack some heads. And you've probably heard Preach talk about the kill box win that he covets, and it looks like they're going for it. They're trying to get that kill box win. Unfortunately, they're not succeeding at that either. And instead, the Lizards are gonna try to get their pound of flesh, green flesh, in. This is a problem because the Grunts chose to start exacting their hits in really early before securing the ball. And wow, look, now it looks like Montezuma is digging up his nose and not paying attention to the action either. What is it with these big guys? Must be something in the air. And so now a good deal of the orcs that were surrounding that ball are getting beat up and moved out of the way. And it does not look like okay, so it was possible, I thought, that we were going to have a skink run into a scoring position to maybe try to pick up that ball next turn and score on turn 8. But instead, they're going to play it safe. They don't want to risk throwing a skink in, trying to grab that ball, and then getting smashed. Very, very conservative on the side of the Aztecs. Of course, they probably figure they're getting the ball back in the second half anyway. And they're up 1-0, so why risk their personnel? Ooh, an attack, a hit on Tlatzlal, who gets knocked out by Tackler, and will there be a... Nope. Surprised he didn't try to go for the injury on that one. And there's a red die block by the orcs that works out. I mean, these orcs just really, man, and with the pylon, too. They are just really trying to kick some ass. It is not about scoring at this point. They don't care. It's just full throttle. This is unfortunate that they're going like just full Rambo at this point, so early in the match. The thing is, Preach is a good coach, and the Grunts are, I think, an extraordinary team. They've got a lot of great players, a lot of really good pieces that mesh well together. They're built pretty well, but their coach just gets frustrated sometimes and has no patience for when the dice start going poorly for him. And I feel like he may have given up on the real win too early here and just started lashing out. So after a few hits from the Lizards and nothing noteworthy, they're gonna trot into the locker room for halftime, and one of the skinks is gonna come back. Unfortunately, Mokos, I think his name is Mokos, still dead. And look who is getting up. Yes, during the halftime, allegedly. Well, no, I'll tell you what did not happen, because Iggy is totally not into this. But a big busted woman came from out of the fan stands, and I mean a big busted woman came out of the stands and totally did not rub her boobs on Iggy's face and wake him up, because Iggy doesn't like that. He would not partake in that. But if he did, that's what would have happened, but that didn't happen. So I'm telling you, it didn't happen. So don't spread false rumors. Curiously, the Grunts have decided. Wow, so you see, this is what I'm talking about. The Grunts have decided to, on defense, they put Iggy Max out of the game. They're not going to risk their star player. That makes sense. They're on defense, and they don't want to risk the Goblin getting hurt. Unfortunately, though, Iggy's a special player. He makes things happen. And, some people would argue that if you want something special to happen at this point, you got to put your star player on the field. There's a riot as the ball is kicked off. I guess the big busted woman who did not come out into the stands and rub her boobs in Iggy's face to wake him up must have started some kind of, turmoil. And there's a frenzied, the crowd is very worked up. And, they don't like what's been going on with there's a dead orc, and the Grunts not caring about the ball and just trying to hurt lizards. And, the both sides start going at it, yelling at each other. Before you know it, there's a fight on the field. The referees have to rip everybody apart. And as per normal Blood Bowl rules, we're not extending the game just because you can't get your fans under control. So both teams going to lose a turn. We're in turn 10 by the time the crowd is cleared. And the lizards are forming some kind of super cage right now. Meanwhile, it looks like once again Montezuma has decided to go into his butt now and try to pick out Montezuma's revenge. So unfortunately, while he's doing that, the action's going on around him, and he's losing his tackle zones. And it looks like Slibley takes a nice nasty hit from Slim Pickens, who's been pretty quiet, but hasn't been digging in his butt again. So I guess he found whatever he was looking for. I guess he found that Aztec gold in his butt somewhere, and now he's ready to concentrate on the game. Orcs are running up and marking the lizards, and this is where they kind of specialize. They like to put the other side in an uncomfortable position. We saw the Grunts in the first half try to be somebody who they were not, and try to be the guys rolling the dice, taking the dodges, doing the one die blocks, and that's just kind of not usually their style. Again, I'd like to note that I think Preach is a much better defensive coach than he is an offensive coach. He will tell you that himself. He's more comfortable on defense, and so I think you're going to see a possible changing of the momentum here if he can get it under control for the second half. And sensing all of the danger, you have the ball carrier, that Agi4 Skink, who scored already earlier, Kutzkatspa. He's going to run back toward the goal line and try to get out of the reach and take advantage of the lack of great movement speed on the part of the Orcs. And it looks like he's just going to sit back there and let his teammates fight for a while. And then once the smoke clears, then he'll run up. It's also maybe he's hoping that, hey, look, the worst that can happen is, my guys finally get beat up, they start coming for me, and we're already late into the second half, and best they can do is tie it up. There's a knockout, the Skinks are starting to go, and Slim Pickens, again, animated with his dookie hand, and he's just, slapping down lizards with the dookie hand, and the lizards really just don't react well to dookie. Tackler trying to put down Hoa of the Moon and unable to do so, and here comes his pylon buddy Grazog, who's going to give it to his teammate Ihakati, and Ihakati is injured and he is going to leave the game. We are not going to see him back. There's the first person to join the kill box. Preach should be happy about that. Will that be what the Grunts need to get them going for the second half and to turn this match around? And looks like Tang of the Pyramid is going to knock down the dirty player, Gorklor. If you don't watch him, he'll stomp you while you're down. So you got to watch him. Wow, reroll spent to make sure Uncle Jesse goes down. And he is knocked to the ground, but it won't be permanent. And the Crocs is going to try to extend the beatdowns, but Askar Breaktee is not trying to let that Crocs' dookie hand near him, and he knocks the Crocs to the ground instead. And now you got a standoff over here. Quetzalcoatl is able to withstand the attack of Morgum's Smash Arm, and Testicles is going to knock another Saurus to the ground, and Hoa is going to go down, and the pylon, there's some orc butt to the face. That's not what you want to see if you're a skink coach. And Hoa of the Moon is dead. We have our second death of the game. This is violent. Oh, it's a different second half here. The Grunts are starting to do what the Grunts are good at doing, and that's killing and smashing. And here come the hordes of the Blitzers. And for all the speed of Kuchkatsta Chutzpah, there's nowhere for him really to hide at this point. He can run, but he can't hide. And the Saurus are marked up, and there's nobody to help him. Oh, man, turn 13 could be very, 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 very difficult for that poor skink. I mean, we talk about Frenzy as poor man's tackle, but you know these orcs have, or this orc, Grazog in particular, has the Frenzy skill as well as tackle. And then once he gets you down, he's got that mighty blow, and then he piles on. This is a particularly, this is a blitzer who is particularly hazardous to skink's health. And let's see how the lizards are going to retaliate. I mean, if you're Chach, Joni loves Chachi, where do you run? What do you do? I mean, you're kind of stuck right now. I guess he's going to try to bolt up the sideline because the Crocs, I guess, found what he was looking for in his anus, and he has got his claw out now and redirected toward his opponents. He's running around with Dookie hand. Tater is being marked up, and he's kind of frantic now. He doesn't like the position he's in. He feels like he's going to get touched with the Dookie, but he also feels like if he tries to get away from the Dookie claw, or the Dookie hand rather, paw, whatever the hell it is, he's going to have that Dookie tail whipping around and trying to hit him with Dookie. There's a lot of Dookie threatening these poor greenskins, and the orcs want to keep their skin green and not brown. So let's see how successful they are in doing that. And by the way, somewhere along the line recently, we must have gone. We're live action because you'll notice now there are delays in between turns. These are the coaches draw up the plays and make them happen. So we have caught up. What you are seeing is live with maybe a slight delay due to the crystal ball of Cabal Vision relaying of the message. And yeah, and that's what happens. Chutzpah runs behind Montezuma. And now you're seeing him grimacing. I mean, talk about take one for the team, right? He hides behind the protection of Montezuma. Montezuma offers him his protection, but it comes at a real cost because now he's sitting there smelling that Dookie tail, and those fingers can't smell good either. And then whatever remnants of whatever he dug out are also protruding from the butt. So that's probably not the place you want to be. It's like seeking refuge in a sewer, but sometimes you do what you gotta do, and the positioning here is legit because with these Saurus where they are, between the Saurus and the Crocs, getting around for Grazog is going to be a little tough. He can still make it though. It looks like if he GFIs on his way out there, if he goes for it, let's see, he's a movement 5 guy, but 6 guy, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so with one go for it, he can get there, and he gets 2 attacks with a tackle. I don't think that skink is safe. I don't think that skink is safe at all. Oh, no, I didn't take into account Montezuma actually has the guard skill, so that makes it a 1-die block, which is suboptimal. But if somehow he can get a second, maybe if James O'Malley can somehow get free and mark up the skink, then we've got a potentially different situation. Oh no, or actually you could run this. No, that's not going to work. So I think what you can, if they can somehow clear one of these Saurus out enough for James O'Malley to dodge his way in there, then we've got a situation where the Grunts can turn around and put a second blocking die on this skink Chutzpachachakrak. Let's see if the Grunts can make it happen. There's the 2-die block from Morgum Smash Arm. He's clearing one of the Saurus out of the way, but that's not going to help James O'Malley get free. So that just that doesn't help the situation at all. So are we just going to see the 1-die block now with the Frenzy? Is that what's going to happen? Are we going to see a 50% dodge out by Tater trying to jump rope over that Dookie tail? I am not sure. Oh, the GFI at first. Oh, so Tater tries to extend the reach of his sprint, unable to get that extra stride that he needed. I guess he needed to work on his wind sprints a little better this week. He did take some extra training and practice to improve his speed, but apparently his game speed is not that great. And you're going to see Chutz Patakrak run up that wide zone, and whew, that might be game. That is probably game. Let's be honest. Game over. Yeah, Morkop should have tied his cleats. Sacerdotalist. Absolutely true. By the way, Sacerdotalist in the chat is the... Oh, wait! This could be a game changer. So it looks like Chuchpatachak did not tie his cleats either. However, he is able to regain his balance again. This week he did some balance beam work. When I say balance beam, he ran up on some trees and started dancing around on the branches, crouching tiger, hidden dragon style. Yes, the pun on the dragon because the lizards and the whole nine. Yes, see what I did there? The jokes are better when I explain them. But Chuchpachachi is going to sit over there and just chill where he is. But however, I think he may be out of the reach of the Grunts. This is a problem, a real problem for New Orcland. Started out the season so well, even managed to tie the number 1 team in the play pool, the hopeless Necromantics, last week. And wait, an opportunity. I don't know that that's an opportunity. I mean, the Crocs. I think he grosses himself out with the dookie fingers when he tries to throw a punch. And kind of in mid punch opens himself to the counter where Tater smacks him, but Tater's still kind of out of reach of that skink. Not just kind of out of reach; he is just clearly out of reach of that skink. So let's see. I don't think any of these orcs have the movement. Nope, they don't have the movement to mark him up. All they can do is force him to score early. But it looks like New Orcland does not give a crap about forcing him to score early. New Orcland is about to teach these lizards a lesson in what happens when you piss them off.
Looks like the end. They can't catch up such a big gap. So, none of the knocked out players seem to have awoken in time for the next down. That must be one heck of a dream they're having.
They should replace that player before they lose any more. Possession is the key to winning, which must drive the coach crazy, as his team has just kicked it away.
Great game so far. Seem to be having a little dull moment, but it'll pick up any second now, I promise. Nice weather to play Blood Bowl.
The attacker has an assist.
They just got owned. That's what the cool kids are saying these days, isn't it?
Come on, guys, together. That's it. Force them back and then pow! He won't leave him alone anytime soon.
We can always count on black orcs to inflict damage on the opposing team. That's quite even Cinch would struggle to all good, solid, if not spectacular play. Time for teammates throw! Night, night. Don't let the bedbugs bite. Really, don't let them. They're massive and can take your hand right off.
Is the assist going to be enough to come out on top? Thesaurus. Leave a mark.
ref is actually doing his job. Look at all those players sitting down on the job. There'll be trouble with the unions if this carries on. Well done. They have the ball now.
Chris Swaylen. He's following up, hoping to get the knockdown next time. Time to help the ball carrier.
An incredible match. I thought my heart would almost beat on more than one occasion.